what did you receive the 2 Purple Hearts for?
Slowing down. I mean,
What type of wounds?
Well, actually, I was hurt a lot more than that, but the rule was if you had 3 Purple Hearts, you had to leave your unit. And I just got enormous affection for the guys with whom I was keeping company at the time. They were all heroes. There's 30 of us left alive from that whole experience, and it's just not many. One of the Purple Hearts was for the trajectory of a bullet that comes across, hits the left leg, hits the right leg, and takes me down. One was for a piece of shrapnel that passed through my left bicep and lodged in my left lung. But let me talk about the guys in that instance. The first one happened in December of 1968, and my radio operator, Jim Leonard. I mean, a lot of people talk about the Vietnam veteran as some kind of, pot-headed marauder. My radio operator, Jim Leonard, who I met for the very first time on Thanksgiving Day of 1968, when I got to Vietnam, and became the platoon commander, one of 3 officers left in a company that should have had 7 officers in it. There were only 3 of us. And we used to take turns, you be the platoon commander today, I'll be the company commander tomorrow, and that kind of thing, until we finally got another captain, and then he got killed. And then the other captain got wounded. And so we kept taking these turns. Jim Leonard, my radio operator, the day I was hit across, and it takes you down, it was an ambush. Jim Leonard was the guy who pulled me out of the line of fire and saved my life. Today, Jim Leonard is a maxillofacial surgeon in Chicago. So if you ever need your jaw or your teeth worked on by a really good radio operator who's really winning, you go to Chicago and see Dr. Jim Leonard. The second Purple Heart was the shrapnel through the bicep and into the left lung. And if you go to the last book I wrote, which is American Heroes from the Home Front, you will see a picture. The first full picture in the book, full page, is Jack Fowler, who was my Navy corpsman, not a corpsman, a corpsman. He is the guy who saved my life that day, because you just put it this way. One of our very, very effective news people interviews Jack, actually said to me one day, this is Memorial Day, do you know any Vietnam vets? And I said, sure. And she said, can you get one for me at the wall tomorrow? I said, sure. So I called Jack Fowler, who was my corpsman, and saved my life on that terrible day in May. When you look at what Jack Fowler, you'd say this guy couldn't be, because he's just a diminutive kind of guy. Jack Fowler would put wounded Marines on his back with a flak jacket and helmet, carry them off the battlefield and save their lives. And he did that with me. He's the guy that put what they call the patch over the sucking chest wound. Well, she does not know that. She does not know that Jack Fowler came back from Vietnam, grievously wounded, took the GI Bill, went to Hampton-Sydney College, then to Johns Hopkins, and came back in the Navy to continue to treat people in the military. He is the deputy head of the PTS TBI chronic pain unit at what is now Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. So he knows TBI because he had a piece of shrapnel through his helmet into his head so far we couldn't get his helmet off after he was wounded. And we had to pack battle dressings up and evacuate and thought he was dead. So here's Jack Fowler walking along the wall. He's already done the interview part of it. This is going to air later in the day. And she is walking, and I've got my cameraman in front of me, and he's walking backwards to the camera, and I'm holding his belt so he doesn't trip over something. And they're walking by the wall, and this is what we call B-roll in the business, right? So she's going to narrate over top of it, and she says, how long have you known Colonel North? And Jack says, about 45 years. She says, really? Where did you first meet him? She says, well, it was at a Quezon combat base in a place called Vietnam. She said, no, really? He says, yeah. He says, I was in Vietnam. And in fact, this panel's got all these guys on it. She said, what was he like? She's forgetting it's never going to air. It's all just being recorded, and Jack still has his mic on. He says, well, is that before or after the sucking chest wound? She said, no, sir, you can't say that word on television. He said, no, I said sucking. She said, please, sir, don't say that word again. And Jack had to explain what a sucking chest wound is, which is a wound into the lung that's just losing air. And she says, Jack saved my life. And today, he is still treating guys from this war, thousands of them. And he's an expert on TBI and PTS because he's been there, he's done that. And my hope is that some people like Jack Fowler continue to be able to treat these guys because they're going to be there for a long time to come. Thank you for asking, Joe.